Hey everybody, how are you today? It's Emily from The Joy of Coding back again. So we had for those of you who are just joining us, we had an amazing challenge. It started 2 weeks ago and then tailed into last week. And so it was really amazing. And in this challenge, we talked about how do you get a coding job? What's the fastest way to get a coding job? What languages you should learn, how you can learn it quickly. And so we went over all the things, everything you need to know to land that 100K coding job if that's something that's of interest to you. So we talked about that in our challenge. If you missed it for any reason, by popular demand, I will be bringing it back later in October. So keep your eyes out for that if you're interested in that. So we are going to be talking more about portfolios and how do you get that dream coding job and how do you learn smarter, not harder, and can you get a job without knowing everything in the world? Yes, you can, right? And we're going to be working on that. And so today, thank you so much for joining. My internet is cutting slightly. Getting cut out. I'm going to pause for just a moment. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Well, I think it's coming back. So today, what we're working on is we are going to be exploring the different types of coding jobs that are out there and how long you can expect to learn how to program before you can land one, right? Like how long does it take to get this kind of coding job? And again, there's different levels of coding jobs. And so that's what we're really going to focus on and talk about today. And if you're here, feel free to shout out. And if you have questions, I'd love to be able to answer them live for you. All right. So we're gonna dive right in. We're gonna get started. Okay. So I'm understand the job market in the U.S. pretty well. So I'm going to start there. Right. So the average programmer in the U.S. The average is going to be making about $70K a year. That's $70,000, right? So that's the average. So if you learn these coding skills, that's the average that you can expect to get. And I'm going to make myself smaller and the writing bigger so you guys can see this. Okay, awesome. So that's going to be the average. And so but really the true range is going to be more like in the 50K to 100K area, right? So there's going to be this broad range. And so how long do you have to invest in learning before you can really, expect to land one of those positions? Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so basically we start off, we have entry level, right? And so again, we are looking for entry level jobs that fall into this range. And so in the very, very beginning, we've got things that involve data analysis, data science. So basically working with data. And what is data? It's nothing more than text and numbers. All right. And so there's different levels here, but these are going to be the simplest jobs in terms of how much coding you need, right? You need as little coding as possible, and then you can start applying for jobs that are working with data and working with information and making it available for others to use and to work with. And so this usually you can start mastering these skills in as little as 6 weeks to 3 months. Okay, so this is the fast track. If you're like, I want a job right now, this is where you can start. That's one option. Some people focus on web as well. And some people say, hey, you can learn what you need to do basic web jobs right away. And that may be true. It depends on the job. The reason why I focus on the data side of things is because web technologies, there are so many. And there's so much going on that I find that people who are new to this field, it can be overwhelming. And so I'd say don't learn everything web, focus on mastering the basics, and that can be done in 3 months. And then you can learn as you go and you can build those pieces out. Because these pieces here can all be done in what's called Python. It's a great starter language. I advocate it for all of the students that I work with. The reason why is because Python is the closest language we have to English. So it's going to be the easiest to get up and running and to see results. And when you see a quick win, that helps inspire you and motivate you to keep going. Because you're like, yes, I can do this, right? Whereas the challenge sometimes with the web languages is you do a little bit, and you're like, oh, look what I did. But then when you try and get to that next level, there's so many moving parts. There's so much going on. It's super easy to get overwhelmed. So what I usually recommend is people build a strong foundation and you get these basics and then you introduce the web. So I view Python as like a starter language for most of my students that are targeting those really, really lucrative high-end coding positions. But really you can start anywhere, right? You can totally start anywhere. My personal preference is I recommend Python for anyone starting out because it's so close to English. It's so easy to get started. And then there's jobs here, right? There's jobs in Python. It might not be in the web space. It might be in the data analysis, web scraping, data science type space, but there are definitely jobs here. And so those are probably going to start you, I would say you're probably going to be in the 50 to 70K range. Like that's kind of like the jobs that you're eligible for within as little as 6 weeks to 3 months. Okay, so that's the first stage. And then we've got this. So this is for stage 1. Okay. So then what's next? Where do you go from here? What happens after this? So then we've got our stage 2. Okay. Stage 2 would be about, so this is going to be around the 70K mark, plus or minus $10,000 or so. And these kinds of jobs here, you want to dive in deep to something, like build a passion project. And this can be in any language, right? It doesn't have to be in Python, right? So you can go from Python and then you pick the right language for the job. You pick the tool for the job. Pick the language, framework, or ecosystem for the job. All right. And so, this really, you can make it custom for you. Like you can build amazing things. You might not know how yet, but you're going to learn and you can absolutely do this. And so one of the things that you focus on in the second stage, right, and this probably is going to require more in the 3 to 6 month range to get to this point, is you can, let's say you want to be a web developer. Okay, now is the time. Okay, now transition to web, right? But you've built these fundamentals and you've kind of mastered some basics. So then you can start going into the web space and actually having an understanding of how those moving parts work together to create the web pages that you see. Another place is maybe you want to be a mobile app developer, right? Okay, pick up a new technology and learn how to build a mobile app. The key is having these fundamental basics like under your belt and behind you so that you've got this firm platform that's your foundation that you can then leverage off of and you can then work your way up from. And so here you can build a passion project and then you can start, while you're building your passion project, you can start applying for jobs right away. However, you might continue to work on your passion project while you're doing the job application scene. And you want to really make sure that you're you're sharing your project with the world. And the recommendation, best practice, is to use GitHub, where you put, oh, my battery is low. Guess I won't be writing too long. And so you want to make sure that you're using GitHub and you're posting that information there. And there's plenty of tutorials out there to help with that. And ideally, you don't want to just create your project and then post it up on GitHub. You want to start with GitHub right away, like even when you're just starting out, so that any potential employers can look at what you're doing and look and see your development process, to see your habits. It's okay to share code that doesn't look that great, that's not awesome. The key is that you can reflect on it and improve it, and you're continuing to deliver that as you go. So I wouldn't hold back. I would start right away. Once you've got those fundamentals, once you've got those basics, grab a passion project, throw it up on GitHub. One of the things you want to do with your passion project, get some kind of a user or client for it. Even though it's your passion project and it's something that you want to create, there is so much value in your resume when you can say, hey, I created this piece of software and I delivered it. I delivered this functionality to someone who's using it or who gave me this feedback. And then you can include that testimonial, that feedback from that user, from that client on your resume. This is huge, right? Because now it shows that not only can you code, but you can work with other people. And this is really, really valuable, really, really important. Okay, so that's stage one and that's stage two. But now what happens if we want to, level up a little bit? What if we want to really, really target those 100K positions here? And so what is that going to look like? Okay, and so we'd already talked about, and really the true range, it's really like 70 to 100K. Like that's what we're targeting. This is stage three. Okay, so now what does this look like? What is this going to look like? So when we're really going and we're really targeting those 100K jobs, this is where you're probably looking at 6 to 9 months. Maybe as long as 12 to 18, right? These are the ranges, right? It can be, and really how long it takes, it's really going to depend on you, right? It's really going to depend on where you are, how you're working, who you're connected with, right? Because who you know is a factor, right? It is much more challenging to get a cold job than it is to find someone that you know who's a friend of a friend who has a coding job. So building those connections, building that network still really, really helps. But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to already know people right now. There's so many ways that you can meet up with people who are developers. For example, Meetup is I'll just note this right over here. Meetup is a website where you can go and meet up with people who are building technology in your area. And so you can go and talk to them and just start showing up, start getting exposure, start talking to people, and they'll notice that. And so you can build these connections. You don't have to already have them. You don't have to think like, oh my goodness, I don't have any connections. You can build them. Like if you recognize that you're looking for a coding job, you can go out and start putting yourself in places where other coders are. And guess what? Sometimes those other coders know people that need coders, right? Because they might work for companies that need coders. And if you're showing your thought process that just who you are, who your personality is, that you'd be a nice person to work with, it can be really hard to hire good people. And once they're in the door, it can be even harder to if it's not a good fit, to let them go. So people want to hire, companies want to hire someone who's going to fit in with their culture and be a good fit. And they're not necessarily going to be like the perfect fit, like to their job description, but they know they're going to be an awesome fit for the company. And so again, having those connections that you can work, but you can build them. You can absolutely build them. You don't have to wait on that. You can just start, becoming a part of your local developer community, whatever form that takes. It could be online, it could be face-to-face, right? And so we're just trying to be a part of that conversation wherever that locality is for you, on what you're doing. You can start getting involved. Okay, so that's where you're really going to want to be, especially for stage three, right? You're going to be leveraging your personal network to really start to land those positions. In stage three, if you're really targeting and you're ready to level up and you're showcasing, hey, I am on the path to become an amazing developer. I'm investing in myself. I have a great dev process. I know how to get things done. I know how to build software. I know how to debug it. I know how to test it, right? If you're trying to bring all that to your work as a developer, right, you're going to be in line for these top coding positions. And so what that's going to look like, in addition to having the fundamentals, right, you're going to have the fundamentals. And in addition to having the fundamentals, you're going to already have a solo passion project, right? So we're including everything that came before. Then what you're also going to be adding is a team development experience. So this is going to be collaborative. And I'm going to scooch down. It's definitely going to be GitHub, right? So Git is the modern tool for code collaboration. You don't have to use GitHub. GitHub is a website that shares Git projects, but it's the industry standard, so most people go there. And it's very common to put your GitHub username on a resume and share that with potential employers, so that when they do think about hiring you, that they're going to vet what you've put on your resume that you're saying you've done, and they're going to vet that by going to your GitHub profile and looking at your projects and saying, oh yeah, okay, they said they know Python. Look, I see Python. I see their process. I see their test cases. I see what they're about. I see what they're doing. Okay, so that team collaborative development experience, that's really where you're showcasing your leveling up skills, because it's not just about coding skills. It's also about being able to work with other people, working with humans, whether that human is a user, that human is a client, or it's other coders who you're collaborating with to build this piece of software. So what we have here is a collaborative experience. The goal is to deliver working software to a client or some set of users that can give you that feedback. Okay, so that's really what we're looking for. We're not just looking to code, and we're looking to really make something custom that really appeals to us and hopefully delivers working software to someone in the real world. Like, we're actually helping make the world a better place and change the world through our coding and through our software. Like, that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is make a difference, right? Like, we're not just, and making a difference can be in our own lives as well as the lives of those around us. And so finding someone who has a need and just saying, hey, I have this skill, I have this talent, let me do this for you. And then they'll work with you, and you'll be able to deliver that working software to them. And getting that opportunity to work as a team, this is so huge, because really in modern software development, when you go into the industry and you get a job, you're not writing, code from scratch anymore, right? You're not starting with a blank page and typing things in. You're walking into a project that exists already, right? Unless you're starting your own company, you're going to be walking as a developer, you're going to walk into an existing code base, an existing ecosystem with a culture and a history and lots of people contributing and lots of collaborators. And you're going to be expected to fit in and be productive and find bugs and fix things and make changes. So this team environment experience, it's really like practice for the main event. And the more you can show that you are ready for that main event, the more potential employers are going to trust you that you're going to do an awesome job for them, right? And so we really want to try and get that collaborative experience under our belts before we go up for those really big jobs. And you can do that with a portfolio project. And again, I haven't said that many portfolio projects, right? Maybe one or two. But the idea is that these are unique to your experience. You're dedicating yourself. You're going deeper. We're looking for quality, not quantity here, because we really want to showcase who we are and how we work and how we develop. And then advertise that. And one of the ways we advertise that is through the code. And we also advertise that through the testimonials from our happy users, right? We did something. Now, regardless of how sophisticated that thing was, it solved a need, it solved a problem, and somebody gave us feedback on that. That is huge. It is so, so amazing. And you don't have to wait on this. You can start right away, right? You can start learning the fundamentals, start learning the basics, and start on your personal passion project, right? And that passion project, it could be a solo project, right? Number one. Oh, I'm losing my internet again. My apologies. I'm so sorry. I'm waiting for it to come back. Let's see if it comes back soon. We'll get there. I'm waiting. Sorry about this, guys. Oh my goodness. You're so amazing for sticking with it and tuning in. Okay, things are coming back a little bit. Thank you so much for your patience. I'm so sorry. Trying to work this one out. And so these portfolio projects, you can start off solo, and then you can work on a team, and anybody can do this. Anybody, absolutely anybody can do this. It doesn't have to, you don't have to go to boot camp. You don't have to go to a 4-year college degree and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and years of your life to do this, right? If you like this approach and you'd like to know more, I can totally talk to you about the Joy of Coding Academy, which is something that I offer in this space, which, we walk this path and we get students ready for jobs, learners ready for these awesome, lucrative coding jobs. And if that's something that's of interest to you, then definitely please reach out and we will, I'm happy to talk more about that. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in today. You were amazing. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to post to the group. I love getting to know about your stories and really helping you on your path. Okay, because we all win when we're all coding, and we all deserve to be a part of this conversation. And I know that you can absolutely do this and learn to code yourself. All right. So have a great day, guys. Take care.